All right, you guys, we're back in the building with another video on today. This is Keeping It Raw, and we're just going to talk about the Detroit Lions and the potential #2 pick overall. Now, there's a lot of ways that the Lions could come at the #2 pick overall on the big board. These are the guys that I present to you on today that could possibly be the #2 pick overall. We never know what's going to happen. The Lions could decide to trade down and trade with somebody and come out of the #2 pick overall. But I think that only happens if the Lions find a trade partner and if somebody wants to come up to get a certain Pacific player. But when you got these guys right here, these are the guys that I think could be a potential #2 pick overall. I know some people say no to Malik Willis. We don't need a quarterback. We can find one next year. And I understand that argument as well. There is a lot of quarterbacks coming out next year. You got guys like Spencer Rattler. You got guys like Will Levis of Kentucky. You have Hooker from Tennessee. You have a lot of different quarterbacks that'll be coming out. Not just these guys. You got the quarterbacks from Ohio that people like C.J. Stroud, and also the quarterback from Alabama who was the Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young. But what we do know is that the Detroit Lions need talent on the roster. If the Lions want to go anywhere, they're going to have to start finding impact players and finding guys that can get it done. And we're talking about blue chip type of players for the Lions. The Lions need to hit on all of their picks pretty much. We see so far what they've done. They was frugal with the money, which I knew they should be frugal with the money, but I didn't think that the Lions would bring back every single entire player just about to the roster. Now, some guys, yeah, you do bring back, but I believe that you should also tweak the roster just a little bit. You don't come back with everybody back. But, you know, that's just my opinion and what I think about it. If I'm a GM and I'm in Brad Holmes' position, I don't bring every single player back. I'm going to bring some players back that I feel that worked hard and they want to be a part of this culture. But you know, who are we? We're just fans, and we just state our opinion on what we think the Lions should ultimately do. Because at the end of the day, the Lions are going to do what's best, what they think that's best for the team. Now, all of us may have players that we like and who we think that the Lions should take at #2 overall. You know, you have Malik Willis, who you can take, and he's probably one of the most intriguing prospects because a lot of people feel like if you take Malik Willis, he has to start, but that's not the case. He doesn't have to start. And I'm not going to even bring up the 49ers thing because I know a lot of people been saying we just been talking about the 49ers situation with Trey Lance. It's a different situation because that team is more ready and prepared to win football games. But with the Lions, you just don't know what type of season they're going to have. You know, some say, yeah, we can make the playoffs. Some say, you know, we're going to be the same type of team. I mean, it's just so many different mixed emotions about what the Lions are going to do and what their prediction of their record is going to be next year because the schedule looks a little bit more easier than normal. But these are some of the guys, man. You got Kyle Hamilton, you got Aiden Hutchinson, you got Jermaine Johnson, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, who a lot of people believe that Kayvon Thibodeau could easily be the pick for the Detroit Lions because Brad Holmes did go out and scout Kayvon Thibodeau, and I'm pretty sure he was happy with the results of what he saw when he got an opportunity to see him. And then there's the guy that's burning it up through the combine, and that's Trevon Walker. Now, I watched a lot of film on him yesterday, Walker, and it don't scream #2 overall to me. Now, I saw that he don't really have a lot of he got the size, what you like in the NFL. He has the size, you know, that's undeniable. He does have the size. But when I watch his tape, it doesn't scream out to me #2 overall because he's a guy that I was watching him. I watched the film with him versus Evan Neal, and they kind of went at it. You know, I think Evan Neal probably got the better of him when it came to the reps or whatever, going at each other. But he doesn't have a lot of moves to me to be that #2 pick overall. He just has that bull rush that he likes to use to get through guys. And when you're in the NFL, you're going to have an array of moves to be able to get to the quarterback. Sometimes you're going to have to use that killer spin move. Sometimes you're going to have to dip. You're going to have to rip. You're going to have to do all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to do stunts, whatever it may be that you need to do to be able to put pressure on these quarterbacks in the NFL. Because a lot of the quarterbacks in the NFL are pretty decent at what they do. So definitely you got to be a good pass rusher. And what makes a good pass rusher is somebody that's relentless and that's just going to keep playing with fire and keep coming. Now you have Jermaine Johnson, who pretty much dominated one season with the Florida State Seminoles, man. You know, he's a kid that came from a JUCO college and then eventually hooked up with Georgia, and from Georgia went to Florida State for that final season and got an opportunity and made the most of it, and he dominated. And not only did he dominate, I believe he had like 70 tackles, 17 and a half tackles for loss, and he closed in on about 12 sacks almost. So Jermaine Johnson, and not only that, he was tearing it up at the combine. A lot of people was watching this kid and saying, yeah, he has the potential to be in the first round. So Jermaine Johnson, definitely his stock is up. And then we already know that Kayvon Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson are the number 1 and number 2 guys that most teams are looking at to be in the top 5. So the Lions got a choice and some decisions to make. And when it comes to Malik Willis, there is a lot of different things that people think about Malik Willis. You know, Malik Willis to me is definitely a talented player. You know, you ask me personally, would I draft this kid? And I'm just going to keep it a hundo. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I know that I will be sitting him back for a year and things of that nature. But I know some people feel like you got to have him. If you're going to draft Malik Willis at number 2 overall, you got to put him out on the field. And that's just not the case. You don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can allow this guy to be groomed and whatever you decide to do. You know, if Detroit decides to shock the world and take Malik Willis, then definitely, man, I think that he can learn from Jared Goff, sit back, and eventually when it's his turn to run the team, he can do that, man. I definitely think that this kid is electrifying with the ball in his hand. Yeah, do he have some things to work on? Of course. Who don't? You know, all of these players have the boom or bust label on them, whether or not they're going to be good or not. We don't know who's going to be good until they suit up on Sundays. That's the biggest thing. You know, we can be loving everything that these kids have done at their pro days and as well as what they've done in the combine. But at the end of the day, none of that stuff really matters. What you do on Sundays when you suit up is truly going to is really going to tell if you're a boom or a bust. It's going to tell if Malik Willis is a boom or a bust if he gets the opportunity to play. If Trevon Walker gets the opportunity to play, it's going to, you know what I'm saying, that boom or bust mentality is going to go with him. Kayvon Thibodeau, every player in the draft is a risk because you don't know how these players are going to play once they get into the NFL. When you dominated college, that's college. Now you have to come to the pros and try to dominate in the pros, and you got to try to make a name for yourself. And if you're the Detroit Lions, you need players to turn out to stars. I know that people talk about drafting all the time, but you can't. Yeah, you're drafting to get better, and you should be drafting to rebuild a team. But at the same time, you're looking for stars too. You're looking for guys that are going to be faces on your team. The Detroit Lions can't continue to keep drafting guys, and none of these guys turn out to be stars. All these linebackers that we have taken, none of these guys have turned out to be all-pro or Pro Bowl caliber linebackers. And then when you look at the pass rush, we still don't have anybody that's an all-pro or Pro Bowl caliber linebacker. And I know some people say that the Pro Bowl is a joke. Well, yeah, it might be a joke, but at the same time, you still want a Pro Bowl caliber player on your team. So the Lions got some big decisions to make on the big board. Who will they take number 2 overall? Should they take Malik Willis? You know, the reports came out that they fell in love with Malik Willis's arms and how knowledgeable he was and how he was to correction when the Lions made him correct some things with his mechanics and stuff like that. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about with Malik Willis, working on his footwork, and we're talking about working on mechanics and getting better with being accurate with the football. You can't talk about the guy's talent because the talent is through the roof. He's a dual threat quarterback, and dude is very smart. And I know some people try to judge this kid because he decided to take his talents down to Auburn. I mean, not to Auburn. He was at Auburn, but he decided to take his talents to Liberty. And just because you take your talent somewhere else, you just want the opportunity to play. It's a lot of competition, and sometimes you win or lose. I mean, when you get into the NFL, it's going to be competition. Everybody has somebody that ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to be competing against these guys. So, even if he comes in and the Lions draft him, you're going to still be competing. You're going to be competing. If you draft Kayvon Thibodeau, he's going to be competing. If you draft Aiden Hutchinson, he's going to be competing. Now, a lot of people like Kyle Hamilton, and I happen to be one of those guys that like Kyle Hamilton. You can go into my video playlist and you can learn what I said about Kyle Hamilton. When I saw Kyle Hamilton on film, it gave you goosebumps. Now, some people may not like Kyle Hamilton, and I understand that because a lot of people may like him. But at the same time, what I can't take away is that this kid is very talented. He's rangy, he's long, he can go sideline to sideline, and he is a thumper mixed with a ball hawk as well. So he can do both. He can hit you, and if you don't believe me, go watch the film on the hit that Kyle Hamilton had on David Bell, the receiver from Purdue. So, and you can watch that on YouTube, definitely. Kyle Hamilton laid him out. So the dude can come in and hit. He's very, and the thing that a lot of people say about Kyle Hamilton is that, when he makes his mistakes, he can just be overly aggressive sometimes. And sometimes that can be a bad thing and it can be a good thing, but at least he is aggressive. He's trying to make a play. And when I watched Kyle Hamilton for myself with my own eyes against Florida State, I was just chilling at the crib one day and I saw that the game was on and I watched it and I'm like, this Kyle Hamilton kid is nice. When I saw him make them back-to-back interceptions, I was like, man, then he ripped his helmet off and was like, I'm here, baby, I'm here. It really, it really put a perspective on him that he was one of the best safeties in this draft class. And I definitely think that Kyle Hamilton is one of the best safeties, and we need a safety. Actually, it's one of our needs. We need a safety. Now, will the Lions do the unorthodox thing and draft a safety like Kyle Hamilton? I don't know. I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? The only thing we could do is speculate, as fans on what the Lions are going to do. But at the end of the day, I'm sure that all of these guys, the Lions are going to evaluate. They're going to really sit down and say, which guy should we, if we stay at number 2, which guy do we think that is going to be a player for us that can come in and do some things for us at the number 2 pick overall? So all of these guys, whether it be Aiden Hutchinson, whether it be Jermaine Johnson, who I definitely like, I love Jermaine Johnson, whether it be Kyle Hamilton, all of these guys have been injured at some point. All of these guys bring something different to the table, and all of these guys are talented. But at the end of the day, it's about getting a player that's going to be a transcendent player for the Lions. The Lions don't just need to pick ordinary guys. They have to be able to pick guys that are going to be premium and that they're going to be very, very talented. They're going to be able to be a plug and play guy whenever they get the opportunity. I know with Malik Willis, he'll be sitting. You know what I'm saying? And I'm cool with that. If Malik Willis is sitting and learning the playbook, I'm cool with that if they decide to go that way. If they decide to go with Aiden Hutchinson and Jacksonville does not take him and they decide to take Kayvon or whatever, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with Kayvon Thibodeau being the guy if the Lions decide. I would not be frustrated with the Lions for taking any of these guys. But what I will be frustrated at is that if we don't come out with a star player at number 2. That's the only thing that'll be frustrating. Yes, if you draft Malik Willis, he's going to sit. He's not going to start. I know a lot of people saying, yeah, he has to start. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to start. You can take him at number 2 and he doesn't have to start. The Lions still got a lot of rebuilding to do. Remember, it's only the second year. It's only year 2 of the rebuild. So this guy can sit back, hold a clipboard, learn, learn what it means to be an NFL quarterback. And that's one thing. If you saw any interviews on Malik Willis, he said that he's willing to do either one. He said he's willing to come off the bench and learn and understand the offense and understand the NFL. And then he says that if he's thrown out to the Wolves, he's willing to handle that situation as well. So you got to be ready for whatever. Any of these players could be a boom or a bust. Any of these guys could be a reach. You don't know what they're going to be like until they get out there on the field. So I kind of like reserve my judgment on any of these players because I think that they need the opportunity to suit up, go out there and show what they can do. The skill set on tape. A lot of these guys, you may love what they bring to the table. And you may have your guy that you want. You may want Kyle Hamilton at number 2, and nothing is wrong with that. You may want Hutchinson at number 2, and nothing is wrong with that. We can't be dogging on people because other people have different opinion from us. Oh man, you're trash, man, because you don't agree with me. Nah, man, it ain't always about agreeing with somebody. It's about just saying like, look, this is the player that I think that could help us. And then you're saying the same thing to me. Oh, this is the player that I think that will help us. And we're both just taking input. What do you think that the Lions have to do when they're sitting down drafting? That's what they're doing. They're game planning and they're talking to each other saying, which guy do you think we should take? I don't think Brad Holmes is just making a decision by himself. He's going to have Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell may not agree with Brad Holmes on the pick, who the pick is going to be. Some of the scouts that have been scouting for the Lions may not agree with Brad Holmes making the pick or the selection that he may have to make. You as a fan, you may not be happy with the guy that they decide to take at number 2 overall. You may not want Kyle Hamilton at number 2 because you think that you should trade down to get Kyle Hamilton at 5. But what's the difference? What's the difference at taking him at 2 or 5? It's not really a whole difference. All you want to know is that you're getting a good quality player at number 2. So we don't know, guys, what the Lions ultimately are going to do at the end of the day. You have no idea what the Lions are going to do. I don't have no idea what the Lions are going to do. And I'm fine with that. And I'm cool with that. Whatever decision they decide to make, it is what it is. If they decide to take Malik Willis at number 2 overall, I'm going to be cool with it. I'm not going to throw my fist through the wall. I'm not going to go box in the air or none of that type of stuff if they take Malik Willis, because I know that this kid is talented. And I know that the Detroit Lions need a special type of quarterback. If you look at our quarterback situation right now, we got 3 guys on our roster that are pocket passer quarterbacks. Nothing different. None of these guys are different. They all are like Jared Goff, basically. They're like a carbon copy of Jared Goff. They do the same thing that he does. Who's going to be different at the quarterback position? You need somebody that's a little bit different. Somebody that's a little bit not the norm for the Lions. So if they decide to swing Malik Willis' way and say, yeah, we're going to take him 2 overall, I'm not going to be mad about it. Some people will be mad about it because they feel like we shouldn't be taking no quarterback in this draft. But I'm not going to be mad about it personally, because I think that the Lions are going to make the best decision what they think. They got a long time to think from here to April on who they're going to take with the number 2 pick overall. They have a long time to decide. If they decide to say, hey, man, we like how this kid, Jermaine Johnson, was doing in the combine. We liked how he worked in the combine. We liked what he did in the Senior Bowl, and he dominated. This is a guy that we want on our team, and we're willing to take him at number 2 overall because we believe in this kid. Aiden Hutchinson, we believe in this kid. Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson was a Heisman runner-upper, and he had a lot of accolades last season. But we don't know truly what type of player he's going to be until he gets into the NFL. He has the size. He has everything that you want as a pass rusher, but at the same time, everybody may not be sold on him. Even the Lions may not be sold on Aiden Hutchinson. We don't know. So when it comes to these players, guys, any of these players could be a boom or a bust. You don't know who's going to come out and be a star in the NFL. But what you do know is what you saw on film. Can these guys translate? Can these guys take the talents that you saw in college and bring it to the NFL? That's what you want to see. If you saw Kyle Hamilton making plays in college, can he do it in the NFL? If you're taking a guy like Kyle Hamilton, who is 6'4", 220 pounds, to be your number 2 pick overall, of course you want him to be good. Of course you want him to be the face of your the back end of your defense. Who wouldn't want this kid to be a tremendous player? But only time is going to tell whether or not any of these players are going to be a boom or a bust. So the Lions have some big decisions to make on what they're going to do if they decide to stay at number 2. Should we take Malik Willis? We really, really like this kid. We are in love with Malik Willis, and I think that he would be the ideal future quarterback for us. Okay, we take him. Should we take Kayvon Thibodeaux, who we got a chance to scout personally? We believe in this kid. We think that he's what we need at pass rush. We take Kayvon Thibodeaux at number 2 overall. Man, we love how Jermaine Johnson really blew it up at the Senior Bowl, how he held his own, and how he was a man-child out there, and how he was able to get in with the linebackers at the combine and show his linebacking skills, being able to be an effective pass rusher. Because those 3 guys, Kayvon Thibodeaux, if you don't know, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Jermaine Johnson, and Aiden Hutchinson were All-Americans. They were the best 3 guys out there doing their thing this year. Now, Kayvon Thibodeaux, his stats was not like that, like how a Jermaine Johnson was. But we know that Kayvon Thibodeaux is a solid player. Jermaine Johnson, if you look at his stats, he blew it up, man. He had a heck of a year. And then we already know what Hutch brought to the game. He had a very, very strong year. You don't have a strong year without being able. Now, when he went against the SEC, it's a little bit different because the competition is going to be a little bit harder and tough. But at the same time, I'm not just going to judge him on that game. Sometimes you have a bad game at the wrong time. It happens sometimes. So, like I said before, guys, we're just keeping it raw on this channel, and we're gonna continue to do these segments on keeping it raw and talking about different aspects of football for the Lions, because ultimately at the end of the day, all of us want to see the Detroit Lions win. Whether you agree with me or not, that doesn't really matter. Whether I agree with you or not, that doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the common denominator is win football games. The common denominator is go out and get talent. You have a talentless team. And like I said before, guys, nobody on the Lions scare you. And I'm just keeping it a hundo, and I'm keeping it raw. Nobody on this team really, really scares you on Sundays. So we got to find those guys in the draft that can be a face, those guys that can be plug and play guys, those guys that are going to be impactful. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, that's what's going to trump the decision for the Lions at number 2 overall. All right, you guys, just keeping it raw, and I'm out of here. Peace.